Hi Racing X, I'm Grace Hayden and welcome back to another episode of Cross Section. We're down here in Melbourne today in the hustle and bustle for Blue Diamond Stakes Day. But before we get into everything, we have a brand new team member that's joining us. He's a very familiar name in the racing industry but loves his UFC. Mick Comerford, welcome to Racing X.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a very familiar location for me too. I've born and bred in this area, so the Ascot Vale Hotel's a place I'm very familiar with.
I want to know more about you though. Can you tell us a little bit about your story, the background behind you?
Well, I guess I had quite the cliche career story. I finished school, went and studied at university, and quickly realised that I wanted to create. I had a passion for sport and I wanted to cover sport. So I moved into the racing industry, followed in the footsteps very much of my brother, who's called a lot of thoroughbred racing right across the world. He's currently in Dubai. And yeah, it's been great. I've been able to pivot from covering thoroughbred racing, which is a passion of mine, but also a bunch of other sports, including the sports that I love so much. So obviously the combat sports, Australian rules footy, given I'm from Melbourne. However, I do go for the Sydney Swans. It's been a rough run for us Swans fan. But in saying that, I get to cover those amazing sports. And I think that's why I fit so well here at Racing X, because I get to practice my passion for thoroughbred racing, but also get to cover all of these new sports in a very next-gen feel and a format fit for the modern consumer.
I want to talk more about combat sports though, because there was some big news that happened over the last few days.
Yeah, so the UFC fans right across the world have been waiting for lots and lots of news for the upcoming pay-per-views, and just yesterday Dana White and the UFC revealed some key news, especially for some of our best fighters here in Australia, including Alex Volkanovski and Jack Della Maddalena. So Alexander Volkanovski will be fighting Diego Lopez for the vacant featherweight title, and the key word there is vacant because Ilia Topuria, the former champion, has vacated the belt and he'll be moving up to lightweight to possibly fight the pound-for-pound number one fighter in the world in Islam Makhachev, or he might be fighting the likes of Charles Oliveira or Arman Tsarukyan, who are also contenders in that division. On the same card, we'll see Paddy Pimblett up against Michael Chandler in the co-main event. That's Paddy Pimblett's first 5-round fight in the UFC. Two excitement machines, and two fighters that everyone wants to see. So that's probably a bigger sell than the Volkanovski fight itself. So big card there in Miami. We'll also see Patricio Pitbull have his first fight in the UFC, a former opponent of Michael Chandler in Bellator. UFC 315 will take place in Montreal, Canada, and that'll feature our very own Victorian, but he did move to Perth, so we can claim him here in Melbourne. But Jack Della Maddalena will fight for the belt against Bilal Muhammad, who was originally set to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov, but that fight has fallen through. Jack Della Maddalena was meant to fight Leon Edwards in London, and now former champion Leon Edwards will be facing Sean Brady instead for that main event in London.
Wow, that's a lot of action happening for the UFC fans. Can't wait to see it all unfold.
I've seen on your social media there's plenty going on in your life, and you were out at LIV Golf.
I was. Adelaide really had a treat for me, honestly. Best, and I've been to a few, best sporting event I've ever been to. The crowd was just amongst it the whole time. So I flew down on the Wednesday. I'm going to give you the play-by-play. Flew down on the Wednesday, went to the opening night. It was obviously drinks and, you know, meeting everyone and familiar faces in the golfing world. But it had that very party atmosphere, DJs going the whole night. And then I woke up the next day where I was playing the Pro-Am. So beforehand, I was so nervous. I had to get golfing lessons because I'm the most competitive person of all time. Like, I can't be bad at anything. It was honestly a fear that I would get up to that first tee, crowd around me, and miss the ball. So thank God that didn't happen, and I actually had the best time ever. Got a birdie, which is big. Played with the Stingers GC. They were awesome. Dean Bemester was my pro that I got to play alongside with. Can I just say, he was so relaxed. You know how you get some, obviously, athletes that are very focused and kind of stick to their own way, and you can very much get that in the golfing scene where they just do their own shots. And I heard from a few other people, some of their pros were just focused and obviously wanted to get the lay of the land themselves before the tournament kicked off the next day. But Dean was so chilled out. He really made the effort to make sure I was okay and, you know, gave me a few tips here and there. But yeah, I had the best day ever. Have you played a Pro-Am before?
I've not played a Pro-Am before, and I'm like you. I struggle to be bad at things, so I kind of keep golf on the outer. I don't touch golf. My brother's
golf?
No,
Really?
my brother's a great golfer. golfer, but not for me. Not for me. But
nice courses here in Melbourne too.
do. My brother's played a fair few of those, but I noticed that LIV Golf's got a very Racing X feel about it. It's very next gen, very fresh, very exciting. A lot of young people moving around. Did you happen to be there for the hole-in-one?
Don't talk to me about it. It actually makes me really upset.
I'll take that as an
I was in the Uber on the way. I heard the cheering as I was walking into the grounds. And honestly, my partner and I were like, no, of course we've missed the hole-in-one. But honestly, I felt like I experienced the hole-in-one because at the end of the Friday, the last ball of the day in the party hole, the watering hole they call it, everyone threw their drinks onto the fairway. I copped one to the lid. I was covered, like saturated in some watermelon spritz drink. So I smelt delicious the rest of the afternoon.
A seltzer shower?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yep, it was just a fun time. I had a little shower, I was fresh, ready to go. And then Dom Dollar played. So we saw Dom Dollar and then Fisher come on board and Jungle Giants was in the middle there. But I love that they've combined sport and that young, fun element of a party scene in there. It just creates a little bit more, as we were saying before, that Racing X feel, young, fresh generation coming in to enjoy a sport, which I think golf is very much so a gentleman's game when you look at a PGA tour. So it's cool to be involved in something so different and see the success of it too.
I have to add LIV Golf to my calendar for next year.
100%. I think Racing X needs to come next year. Shout out to LIV Golf. Do you want to have us down? Because we would love it. Okay, enough chatting about golf though. We're here in Melbourne for a very special racing event for the Autumn Carnival. Blue Diamond Stakes Day. Mick, I want to know all about it. Give us the rundown, what we're expecting. Because I've actually never been before.
Well, two-year-old racing continues to go to new heights in Australia every year with its association with the breeding barn and obviously the great prize money. And yes, the Blue Diamond is a day to celebrate our two-year-olds in racing. However, it's a great opportunity for our up-and-coming sprinters with the Oakley Plate. We've got a number of three-year-old features with the Zeditive and the Amanasco, and of course the Futurity Stakes, the Group 1 over 1,400 metres, which this year will feature Mr. Brightside, an 8-time Group 1 winner looking to go back-to-back and springboard himself into the All-Star Mile in a couple of weeks. So there is fantastic racing right across the day, and what the MRC have been able to do so well is really appeal to that young crowd. At Caulfield, as a spectator, as a fan, and even working in the media, you're right up and close at the rails, really close to the action and the horses. And what the MRC have been able to do with the cross-promotion of sports through their major events, with John Kanga, he's been huge for the MRC. You might have heard that Gronk's going to be out there tomorrow.
I have, and I'm a big fan. Honestly, more of his girlfriend. She's the most stunning person of all time. She's a Sports Illustrated model. She's absolutely stunning. But then also, Gronkowski, the horse, is also going to be on track.
Yes, Clayton Douglas, very famous for his horse Giga Kick, winning the Everest a couple of years ago, and it ran second last year. He'll be taking Gronkowski out for Rosemont Stud in those famous colours, and it'll be hopefully great to see Gronkowski and Gronkowski get a photo.
It's also exciting that NFL's coming to Melbourne. MCG is going to host an NFL game. That's just iconic in itself.
Absolutely, and the MRC really stamped themselves in that NFL sphere by not only inviting Gronk to the MRC and Caulfield for Blue Diamond Stakes Day, but also getting involved, showcasing the Super Bowl on track just last week.
Well, there's so many things to obviously look forward to. I can't wait for Saturday, but one thing I'm really looking forward to is seeing the fashion. Girls in Melbourne always come out and dress to perfection. We've obviously got to change the season as well. Spring Carnival has its own individual flair, but now we're heading into the colder months of the year. I love seeing all of the new textures coming involved. So we'll see velvets and a little bit more darker colours, wine's really in at the moment. But yeah, I've gone for a little different look. I'm lucky enough to actually be dressed by Effie Katz. I'm in one of her pieces. So head to toe, Effie has dressed me, and we actually were lucky enough to have a chat to her yesterday about her story. She's just such an amazing powerhouse woman in the fashion industry, and she's killed it. Honestly, in Melbourne, everyone knows her name. In Australia, everyone knows her name. She's had some icons wear her pieces. Kylie Minogue recently wore one of her pieces. She's going around doing a concert at the moment. But yeah, she's just such an interesting character, and to see her growth was really cool for someone who's looked up to her. And honestly is inspired by all her looks. So make sure you stay tuned for our socials to see that chat, because it was honestly amazing.
Well, it's going to be amazing to see all the action out there at the MRC tomorrow for Blue Diamond Stakes Day. And we mentioned Mr. Brightside before. We're going to have a chat with Will Hayes later on today. They're taking Mr. Brightside to go back-to-back in the Futurity Stakes in the Group 1. And as I said, springboard himself into the All-Star Mile in just a couple of weeks. Now, the Hayes boys, the Hayes name and Lindsay Park have a very good association with Blue Diamond Stakes Day. They have won 9 Blue Diamonds in the past, and their father, great David Hayes, has the record 6 Blue Diamonds. His father before him, the great Colin Hayes, has succeeded 3 times. Ben's got 2, JD's got 1. And let's hope tomorrow Will Hayes can get his first Blue Diamond.
That's a pretty good bloodline.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed for him. Now, one of our very own, Bella King, is in Saudi currently covering the Saudi Cup. We're going to hear from her live over there.
Thank you, Grace, and welcome to the team, Mick. I can't wait to hear about everything that you've got in store with the Racing X family. As you guys know, I am over here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and wow. The culture here is just incredible. You can see everything happening around me right now. I am overwhelmed in just the best way possible. We've been here for 2 days and we've been immersing ourselves in everything that Riyadh has to offer. Yesterday, we went straight to Bujari Terrace, which is a beautiful mix of heritage as well as modern restaurants, shopping, cafes, the Dolce & Gabbana. Grace, you would die to see it, trust me. But we also got to head across to At Tarif. It's a beautiful World Heritage site. So much history in one spot, the most beautiful buildings that Saudi Arabia have done such a great job in preserving. But they also have an Arabian display there, which I, as a horse girl, just love to get involved and have a look and see. You can really see how much the equine world forms so much of the culture and heritage here with the Saudis. And it just really, it resonates with me. It feels like such a spiritual experience to go and witness it all in person. Today, we had another huge day. We had the press conference quickly this morning, but my highlight was definitely going to Medal Equestrian Centre and seeing the team there. It's a beautiful facility right in the middle of Riyadh. You'd actually be surprised with the way the compound's set up. You wouldn't think anything's there, and then you walk inside and it is just horse heaven. Obviously, as everyone in our audience knows, our DNA is in thoroughbred racing, but it's just incredible to see how much the horse community all over the world can come together when you've got the same love and passion of the animal. And that also obviously extended into tonight. Tonight we had the barrier draw here at King Abdulaziz Racetrack, and it was just spectacular. Honestly, the setup they have, the local performers, you can see behind me this incredible art display. Everywhere you look, this racetrack is like nothing you've ever witnessed. There's all different stores around the course that are just actually different restaurants. The overlook into the race course itself is beautiful. This morning, I actually headed down and tested out the dirt for myself. It's an incredible surface, and I could see why so many of the turf horses actually take to it so well. It's light, fluffy, soft under your feet, and I am so excited to see Romantic Warrior take it on this Saturday in the Saudi Cup. James McDonald threw Katie under the bus. She had to draw the barrier. She drew barrier 3. She told me afterwards that she felt like she had the weight of Hong Kong, Australia, and the world on her shoulders drawing that, but the team are very happy, and I think it's going to be an incredible race. I won't take up much more of your time. You guys have so much to chat about with Blue Diamond Weekend. I cannot wait to see all of the content you guys have coming up, and Grace, I cannot wait to see your beautiful outfit.
Oh, Bella, you're just living the dream over there. We're so happy to see you in your element, and there's so much more to come from Saudi, but also here in Melbourne as well. We can't wait to bring you all the action of Blue Diamond Stakes Day. Mick, thank you so much for joining us. We've loved having you as part of the Racing X team. There's so much more to come from you. Make sure you stay tuned on all of our socials to keep up to date with all of the action. Thank you for joining us for a cross section, and we'll see you again soon.